Test. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey guys, what's up? Today we're going to make this 5 gallons of water and turn it into a hard seltzer. And it all starts now. I think making a hard seltzer would be a pretty easy task. You're just getting this water to ferment, right? No big deal. Well, hasn't truly been the case for me. I've tried my hand at seltzers twice now. First run was just a disaster. I don't know what happened. It didn't even ferment. Sat there for 2 months. I did a second batch and I threw a ton of nutrients at it and yeast nutrients, and it eventually fermented, but by the time it was done it was just disgusting because I used like 3 different types of yeast, way too much nutrient, so I kind of gave up on it. And then a couple weeks ago, Omega yeast, which is my favorite brand of yeast to use for making beer, came out with Propper Seltzer yeast nutrient. And I thought, well, if Omega did it, it's got to be right. It's got to work. So here we are again, making this seltzer. I can already tell this morning things are going well. The little airlock is bubbling, so we've actually got fermentation, which is pretty wild. For me, anyways, I made, oh man, dozens and dozens and dozens of homebrew projects, beer and wine and cider, and nothing's quite ever stumped me like the seltzer did. But Omega, I think, has got their stuff together and have created the perfect thing to use for fermenting a seltzer. So we'll just go through it. 4 simple ingredients, including water. But what we did is we take 5 gallons of water and we added 4.5 pounds of dextrose or corn sugar. Find it at your local homebrew stores. Labeled as corn sugar, maybe even priming sugar, but it's just dextrose. Not much to it. Bag of corn sugar. We heated the water up to 85 degrees. So let me correct that. We heated the water up to 185 degrees. Once that got up to temperature, we added the dextrose to it. Just started, a whirlpool. Poured the sugar in. Once it was all dissolved, nice and clear, we kicked up the heat a little bit and got it just to a gentle boil. Held that gentle boil for 10 minutes. After that 10 minutes was up, we killed the heat and then we added the Propper Seltzer to it. And I'll just read you off the package. It says 1 dose of Omega's yeast, specially formulated Propper Seltzer nutrient, powers your favorite beer yeast through a healthy, sugar-based fermentation in as little as 7 days. Want it even faster? Try 4-day Propper Seltzer nutrient in Omega's Lutra. The 1 package provides yeast nutrient for 5 gallons of sugar wort. So that's what we did. We then started another whirlpool, just get that water going in a circle, you know, and added the nutrient in there. Held that whirlpool for 10 minutes. After that, we chilled the sugar base down to 85 degrees. And once we did that, we pitched the yeast in. Now this yeast is pretty new. I think it came out this summer. And one of the things that it claimed was to give you a lager in 4 days. And if you know anything about lagers, that's pretty wild, right? I mean, lager is supposed to be fermented at low temperatures for long periods of time. You know, it takes several months to make a true, to the book lager. And so this is supposed to do it in 4 days, which is pretty cool for guys who don't have ways of maintaining stable temperatures for that long, or, you know, just impatient like me, kind of. So I gave it a try, and it did what it was supposed to do, man. It gave you that nice, crisp, clean lager flavor in just 4 days. It's a hungry yeast. It wants to eat, and that's exactly what it did. So once that was all done, we transferred it over to this bucket, put the little airlock on it. Now we're going to give it 4 days. Like I said, it's already going. You probably can't see from here, but the airlock is bubbling. Yesterday morning it was at, or last night, excuse me, it was at 1.040, the gravity. This morning it was at 1.37, so it's doing its thing, and I imagine by the end of the day it's going to be quite a bit lower than that. Then once that's done, we'll cold crash it. We'll just bring the temperature down quickly, and that'll help to bring any other more solids down to the bottom of the bucket, so we're left with just clean, crisp, hard seltzer. Then we're going to go ahead and flavor that up. I think we're going to do like a cranberry orange flavored seltzer. Not really much of a seltzer guy, so I had to ask what other people might like, and that's what we came across. So let's get into the video and see how it went. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is heat up this water to 180 degrees. It's just regular water. Then my brew partner Steven there is going to add. He's graciously come out of his bedroom for the first time in 3 months, probably. First time he's seen the sun. I'm going to add some corn sugar, 4.5 pounds of corn sugar to this to make the sugar water for the yeast. We got 5 gallons of water, brought it up to 180 degrees, and now we're pouring 4.5 pounds of dextrose or corn sugar into the water. And my brew partner Steven here is manning the sugar station. So this is going to give us the base for the yeast. Just mixing that in until it's dissolved. We got the sugar in. We're going to bring it back to a boil, let it boil for 10 minutes, and then we'll add the nutrient. Hey Steven, how long does it take for water to boil?
For exactly this long. Now we'll let this sit for 10 minutes and add the nutrient after that into a whirlpool. We turn the boil down just a little bit. We just want a gentle boil with it. Hey Steven, have you ever had a White Claw?
No, because I'm not an idiot.
Because you're not an idiot?
And I'm only 17.
You don't want to get in trouble?
No, I want to be known for getting in trouble for something else, not getting in trouble for drinking a White Claw.
Like what?
Like, I don't know, maybe like poop on the front of the White House. Hey man, I'm just saying, imagine like...
So one thing we're going to do is check the gravity of our sugar base. We're aiming for 1.04. So I got a couple drops out of there, put it on this refractometer. Even a couple drops of, hot sugar base is going to cool down to the right temperature pretty quickly. It's also got automatic temperature compensation on it, so it'll be accurate between 55 and 85 degrees. But so we'll go ahead and take a peek and see what it looks like. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is get the yeast nutrient or the seltzer nutrient into the sugar base. Steven's going to start a whirlpool, and we'll whirlpool it in just like you would whirlpool in hops. But you're going to get that going in a nice good circle. And we're going to start adding some of this nutrient in there. And hopefully this should end up with some pretty good seltzer. Alright, so the instructions call that we do a whirlpool for 10 minutes. So we'll stir it. If he raises the stick out of there, it's still going to keep spinning for a couple minutes. So you don't have to sit there and completely stir it for 10 full minutes. But keep that whirlpool going, and we'll get to the next step. Now that we whirlpooled the yeast nutrient for 10 minutes, we got to cool this back down to 85 degrees so we can pitch the yeast. You can just let it sit and it'll get down to 85 degrees eventually, or I've hooked up a wort chiller. It's just a spool of copper that one end hooks up to the faucet outside, so cold water runs through all these coils and ends up coming out the other end of this hose here and spits out wherever you put it. So that'll help cool it down faster. You don't need it, but they're handy. There's better things too, but this is what I have, so we wait again. So now we've got our sugar base down, actually a little too cool. We got it down to 77 degrees, but if you look at this here, it'll temperature range is between 68 and 95, so we should be fine. And we got the Omega Lutra Kveik OYL 071. We're going to just pour this yeast straight into there. Get all the little yeast cells in the mixture there. And so that sugar that we put in there initially is basically food now for that yeast. And that yeast is going to eat it, and in the process it's going to convert into alcohol so we can enjoy. I did check the gravity before pitching the yeast, and it was exactly 1.040, and like I said, it was 77 degrees. But now we'll put a lid on it and let it ferment. Hopefully in 4 days it'll be done. Well, that wraps it up for the making of the sugar base. We'll meet back here when we flavor this thing up and put it in a keg and get it carbonated. I bought all this stuff for under $35. I did end up getting an extra bag of
the corn sugar. I got an extra package of this yeast, but all this stuff, man, is super cheap. I got it all at bullcityhomebrew.com. You can get the corn sugar, you can get the Propper Seltzer yeast nutrient, and the Omega OYL 071 Lutra Kveik. All this stuff here is readily available at bullcityhomebrew.com. I'll add some links to the descriptions in there. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like it, subscribe, share it to all your friends, you know, the whole thing. And we'll catch you next time.